What is going on, everybody? This is part 2, Wrestle Talk with the franchise, and this part we got some things to dive into. We definitely do. As I said in part 1, there is a lot to talk about. We have All In, All Out, which I'm not a big fan of. I'm not a big fan of them having All In and then 2 weeks later have All Out. Like, I'm not a big fan of it. It's too quick of a turnaround for shows, for AEW's pay-per-views. I'm not a big fan of that just because of the mere fact that it's too quick, you know? Like, you really didn't have enough time to let this event kind of settle, and then you're jumping right into another pay-per-view. But yeah, I'm not the hugest fan of that. But we have All In to talk about very briefly. We have All Out to talk about. I think there's only 3 matches that were confirmed. Then we do have to talk a little about what happened at Dynamite. My thoughts on what I think is happening with Dynamite. I know a lot of people have a lot to say about Moxley returning and what he said. Then we're going to talk about the highly anticipated documentary, the docuseries coming out on Netflix, Mr. McMahon. My takes on it. I do believe there is one snippet that I think was revealed in the documentary. I'm not 100% sure if this part is going to be in there, but if it is, I'm going to talk about it, which is the angle that we've heard about with Stephanie, his daughter, and Rikishi. Yeah, once again, we're talking about Rikishi and how he just sometimes it's better to just not say nothing. Just shh. Just quiet. So first things first, let's dive into All In, All Out. All In was 2 weeks ago at Wembley Stadium, where it was indeed, I know. Oh, and we're going to be talking about NXT No Mercy. But it was a solid show. I know. As they say, a dead clock is rang twice. I will give AEW their just due. I'll give them their credit when credit is deserved. And this is one of those rare occasions where I give AEW their credit. I'm not going to go the same route as I do with the WWE Premium Live events where I give my match and all this, because I just gauge what the fans are saying online when it comes to AEW's pay-per-views. I don't watch them because I'm just accustomed to premium live events. I'm accustomed to it being streamed. I'm accustomed to now doing that and not paying for it. And I'm not paying $50 for a pay-per-view that is at the same level of how the WWE used to have 15 fucking matches and the premium and the event doesn't end till after midnight. Now, Grant, this was actually during the day because it's in Wembley, it's in the UK. We all know the time difference is obviously night and day. So my match of the night, though, if I had to pick one, I said it was Mariah May versus Toni Storm. I think that was the best story-driven match. I mean, Mariah May is over as a villain. I mean, the woman smacked her mom. As I told one of my coworkers, I think she thought back to a time where she was really pissed at her mom and could not hit her, and had this opportunity to get that one shot, and she got it. But very excited and happy that Mariah May is our new AEW Women's World Champion. On Dynamite, she was supposed to do a celebration where she was supposed to get naked, but that didn't happen because she claimed she was not going to celebrate in Champaign, Illinois. As she said, I think she said it was like stale beer. And then she unrobed herself and had on a nice, you see it right here. You just see it right here. So this is our new WWE. This is our new AEW Women's World Champion, Mariah May. Now let's talk about the main event. We have Bryan Danielson putting his career on the line against Swerve Strickland for the AEW World title. I knew that Bryan Danielson was going to win this match because it's Bryan Danielson. It is one of Tony Khan's favorites. We all know every owner has their favorites. Vince McMahon had his favorites. Triple H has his favorites. Tony Khan clearly has his. If you know, when Swerve won the AEW World title, I was under the impression that it was not going to be a long title reign. I thought that he would drop it relatively sooner than later. I didn't like how even the celebration took place. Like, he didn't have a celebration. He didn't have a moment. Like, he opened the Dynamite after winning the title. He opened in a match with a nobody, you know? But then we had celebrations for like Mercedes Moné. We had Chris Jericho fucking celebrating for a title that is not in the AEW title picture with the FTW belt. We've had these celebrations for these other people, but you crowning the very first, and I don't want to make it a race thing, but you crown the first black AEW champion and there's nothing for him. Even if MJF won the fucking international championship and had a whole celebration and renamed the title, the North American title, and changed the design and the belt and everything, like had this whole thing. And so I just knew that it had to be the perfect person for him to drop the title to, and for them to give it to Bryan Danielson, and on paper, his contract is expired, so he can literally do whatever he wants to do. Bryan Danielson can go to the WWE with that AEW title like it's nothing. He can appear They can't get mad at him for it because he's not under contract. So now it is a matter of, if he loses the title, he will then go to being a part-timer. Now, this goes against everything that Bryan Danielson once said, because if I can recall correctly, he was one that was against the part-timers, right? Now, he's also said that he has to get neck surgery. He made a promise to his kids and all this stuff. Yet, he's our AEW World Champion. And his first title defense is against Jack Perry. Now, I have a theory of what I think is going to happen. And if this does happen, I need for all the wrestling fans that tune in every time I drop a video to just bear with me, because if what I'm about to say happens, when it happens, that installment of Wrestle Talk is going to probably be one of the I might have to bring the ace. I might have to move heaven and earth to get the ace here to justify this move. And this is what I'm talking about. So, Jack Perry, Bryan Danielson, All Out. Bryan Danielson's going to win. They're talking about a possible Darby Allin title run in the future. Do I see that happening now? No, not right now. Not right now. This is what I see happening. Who won the Casino Royale Gauntlet, whatever the fuck you want to call it? That will be one Christian Cage. Who, if there's one person that you want to get to kind of be that person to piss off Bryan Danielson, to just take like the knife and just dig in and just fuck with you, it's Christian Cage. The perfect person. Take out him, lead up to this match, talk all this shit, say, I'm going to be the father that you can't be for your kids because you won't be able to be the father because you're going to be crippled after I get done with you. Build all this hype up and you crown Christian Cage, or they crown Christian Cage the new AEW World Champion. That is when the rated R superstar Adam Copeland returns. And if we get Adam Copeland versus Christian Cage for the AEW World title, with Adam Copeland winning the AEW World Championship, I am going to scorch earth AEW. Because you are putting the title, you are creating a story that is built from the past with two friends who are well known for being in the WWE. Yet you want to be the alternative and not do this. You don't want to do all this stuff. Yet we are seeing, if this happens, I'm saying, if it happens, I've been wrong from time to time. And I will admit when I'm wrong. But if we get Christian winning this AEW World title, because he can cash in whenever he wants to. So, he broke his fibula, whatever the fuck Adam Copeland did. He broke that. He should be out till about the end of the year. Christian could win this title at World's End. If that was the case, you then get Adam Copeland coming back beginning of 2025. Him, Christian, built this story. Adam Copeland wins the AEW World title. I will just, it's not what I would expect from this promotion that is talking about being the alternative and wanting to build the youth, the younger people, the people who did not have an opportunity. But then you have Christian Cage against Adam Copeland for the AEW World title. I hope I'm wrong. I do. But if I'm not, and this happens, buckle up. Buckle up. And so we also had a debut at All In with the debut of one Ricochet, the man who I thought for some reason, and I kept holding on to hope that Ricochet was just going to reemerge into the WWE, but he did not. He has signed, I believe, a multi-year deal with AEW, which I'm assuming is maybe a 3-year deal with the company. My thoughts? Hey, good luck. As I said before, I said it when the news broke. I said it on the Instagram page. I wish Ricochet luck, and I pray that he doesn't get hurt, because there seems to be this pattern of wrestlers who leave from the WWE to come to AEW, and 6 months into their run, they're sidelined with an injury. So I'm hoping that is not the case with Ricochet. And they already briefly teased Ricochet and Will Ospreay, even though the Bastard Pac came out and laid out Will Ospreay, because Will Ospreay and Pac will be facing each other at All Out. That's the second match that was announced for All Out. So we have the world title on the line. We have Pac versus Will Ospreay. And we have what I thought was originally going to happen was I thought Hangman would be the one to dethrone Swerve, but it's not the case. Swerve and Hangman will do battle in a steel cage match at All Out. And if we thought their matches in the past was brutal and sick and all types of stuff, who knows what's going to happen in this match, this steel cage match between these two. So I believe those are the only 3 matches that have been announced for All Out. Maybe Daniel Garcia versus MJF has been announced. I'm not 100% sure. This episode doesn't really have any notes. I have my laptop here with 2 things on there for the Mr. McMahon documentary and the quote from Rikishi. But other than that, all the other stuff I'm coming off with is literally just stuff that I remember from what's happened in wrestling. Speaking of the documentary, September 25th, Netflix. Mr. McMahon. Mastermind Madman, from the executive producer Bill Simmons, Chris Smith, and executive producer sorry, let me rephrase that. I'm looking at the picture that you see right here. From executive producer Bill Simmons and Chris Smith, who was the executive producer of Tiger King. Now, from Variety, series director and executive producer for the Vince McMahon docuseries on Netflix, Chris Smith explains the goal behind the docuseries. The goal behind Mr. McMahon was to pull back the curtain and reveal the true Vince McMahon. Obscured beneath the persona he presents to the world, over the 4 years of production, the story evolved in truly shocking ways, culminating in some serious horroring allegations. The final product is a revealing documentary that we believe offers a rich and nurturing portrait of the man and the complex legacy he left behind. Now, we knew about this docuseries happening, as he said, 4 years ago. And this was supposed to this was not supposed to be what it is now. Okay. I believe that this was something that they were doing to kind of paint the picture, maybe show a few of the rumbles, maybe the steroid allegation conversation that we all know about, but nothing to the level of what has transpired within the past year and a half with the allegations that has come out. I believe Janelle Grant is not in the documentary or the docuseries. I do believe that they said she is not a part of it. I believe her team came out and said that. But there was something that I seen circulating. I don't know if this is a part of the docuseries, but there was a video clip that surfaced of Stephanie McMahon. And she spoke about an angle that they presented, that Vince McMahon presented in the wake of Stephanie being pregnant. And the angle, and this is documented because numerous podcasts have talked about this. But I think for the casual wrestling fan who is not that too familiar with this story is going to look at this and say, what the actual fuck is wrong with this man? Now, I have been on record saying in the past, when Vince McMahon has stepped down originally, I thanked him because he gave me and everyone that is watching this a product that we fell in love with. We all are wrestling fans because of the WWF, the WWE, and Vince McMahon was the mastermind behind it. He was. There were a lot of questionable things that he has done. I mean, Owen Hart dies in the ring at a pay-per-view, and instead of stopping the show, you continue the show. I don't even think that show is on I don't think it's on the network. I think they got rid of it. I'm pretty sure they got rid of it. I remember being a kid, and this goes back to all my people that's around my age range and older, when you were going through the channels and you would get to the pay-per-view channels and the screen would be all fuzzy, and you can kind of if you squint your eyes just a little bit, you might be able to see something, but you would try to hear what's going on. I remember I used to sit there. There was plenty of times where I was not getting pay-per-views. I would get the main ones. I would get the big fours. I'll get the Royal Rumble. I'll get WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. I then got all the other pay-per-views, but this one in particular I didn't get. And I remember listening to it, and I remember sitting there like, you know, oh man, like, what happened? I want to see what happened. And then when, you know, we got old enough in the day of the internet and downloading things, I was always tempted to try to find that footage. But something always told me no, like, no. Because I wouldn't want to witness this man's death. But Vince turned around and Vince proceeded to move forward, which is probably one of the leading reasons why Martha Hart is so against the WWE to this day, even with Vince not even being with the company anymore. Could that change now? Maybe. But her connection and her affiliation with Tony Khan, I think, is very tight, and I don't think it will happen unless Triple H pulls a fucking miracle and gets Owen Hart, Martha Hart to do anything with the WWE. Paul Levesque is the fucking man, and I tip my hat off to him because he's done what people thought was the impossible. He has done. Could we get that with him? I mean, Mark Henry pleaded with Martha Hart when he got inducted in the Hall of Fame. I know The Rock had really close ties to him as well. So could we see something in the future? I know Triple H was close with Owen. So can we see something in the future with that happening? I hope so. But that is just one of the examples of how Vince McMahon just was the way he was. But this takes the cake. Stephanie McMahon is pregnant with Triple H's first child. And Vince McMahon wanted to do an angle with Stephanie being pregnant. And she's pregnant. She was pregnant currently at that time. She was pregnant. He wanted to take her pregnancy and make it into a storyline where he was the father. And Stephanie said, I've only turned down 2 ideas. That one, and when she denied and said no to that one, he said, well, okay, well, let's make it Shane. Shane? And she was against it. Completely against it. I'm looking forward to this docuseries though. I really am, because it is a series that is near and dear to me as a wrestling fan. We all know how much I love and appreciate what Vince McMahon has given us. So before I wrap up, let's talk about Rikishi. I recently went on a couple episodes ago talking about Rikishi because Rikishi was very upset about how he felt like the WWE was doing all this madness with his son Jey Uso and not giving him the rub and making it seem as if they were trying to ruin Jey Uso's relationship, his marriage with his wife, because of the whole Rhea Ripley situation, in which I said if it happened, maybe the marriage wasn't even real in the beginning. But now he's doing it again. From Off the Top podcast, Rikishi recently said the following: I'm at this point where I want to call my son and say, go ahead and take a break. Obviously, the writers don't know where to put you, or they can write something that is right for the character Jey Uso, the Yeet Man. The kid is so good, WWE ain't the only spot. He could probably go to AEW if he wants to write his own ticket, maybe more than what the WWE is making on him. Hopefully they turn it around and do right by the Yeet Man. Rikishi, do you not know your son is on the cusp of being reintroduced, brought back into the biggest fucking story in wrestling history? Your legacy, your family legacy, the Ottawai family's legacy and story is being told in front of us right now with the bloodline, with Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tonga Tonga, Tungaloa, Tama Tonga, Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, The Rock, Paul Heyman. All of this, and Jey Uso will be reinserted into this story. He is one of the most over characters in the business right now. He has been on record in saying he is perfectly fine with what he's doing right now. He is about to probably be the number one contender for the Intercontinental title to go against Braun Breaker. They're already planting the seeds of Braun Breaker and Jey Uso. Braun Breaker already took shots at the family. So we can slightly see that in the next few weeks, we are going to get Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental title. Now, if Braun Breaker defeats Jey Uso, are you going to turn around and then go off and say, well, they just need to just write him off. He just needs to just go to AEW. For what? For what? I'm pretty sure if Jey Uso faces Braun Breaker, I'm pretty sure they're going to have something, maybe the bloodline has something to do with this. And if the bloodline interferes in screwing over Jey Uso, because it could possibly happen at a pay-per-view, and Jey Uso can be sitting there getting ready, and the bloodline can pop up on him and say, hey, Us, if you need any help, because that man disrespected our family, we got you. And Jey Uso can say, nah, I got this, don't worry about it. And just brush them off like, nah, I don't need you. And that is a sign to Solo as disrespect. You disrespect me, you disrespect me. I'm the tribal chief. And then that's when we get that reintroduction. We get Jey Uso back into this storyline. You got Sami Zayn, the honorary Uso. He may get reinserted into this. We already know it's going to be a civil war games at Survivor Series. We're hoping that's what it leads to. We're hoping that we get the final boss to be revealed as the one who is delivering the orders. As I said in the past, he could be the one that says, I'm now the elder that sits at the head of the table. I'm now the high chief of this family. Y'all have to answer to me. put in the fact that he's the head of the board of directors. So yes, I am at the head of the table. Keish, your son is doing things that, if we're going to be honest, you should be proud of. That he's doing things that you were not able to do at the time of your career because of the roles that you were put in. You should be happy and proud that, oh, my son is one of the hottest things going in wrestling right now. He comes out, the crowd is fucking going crazy. They yeeting, they doing all this stuff. I'm proud of him. And if he's saying that he's good at where he's at, if he's saying I'm good, I'm content where I am, why are you trying to ruffle the feathers? Not to say if this was Vince McMahon and you doing this, Vince would have wrote him off. Vince would have been like, all right, bet. Yep. He's talking shit? Bet. We'll see how you go. We're going to put you on main event. We're going to lower your stock. That's the type of man Vince McMahon was. Lucky that Vince McMahon ain't there anymore. I think we all can agree the next few months for Jey Uso is going to be like we've never seen before. These next few months with the bloodline is going to be stuff that we've never seen before. Like they say all the time, it is cinema. And we are about to be engulfed in nothing but cinema. Drama. People may even shed some tears. That's how intense this story is about to get. And you are... With that being said, that's it for this episode of Wrestle Talk. Let me know in the comments what y'all thought about AEW's All Out or All In. What do y'all think is going to happen at All Out? Oh, I'm not done. I am not done. No. This is why I need notes. Because how do I not bring up Jon Moxley? And I talked about that earlier in the show. Jon Moxley, and then I'll end it with this one. So we all know Jon Moxley returned to AEW, returned to Dynamite, has not been seen since they said Forbidden Door. And he came back and he pretty much said that he's calling out Darby Allin. To what capacity? No one knows what he means by calling out Darby Allin. Is it a thing where he's calling him out to take him under his wing, to fight him? Who knows? Who knows exactly what he means? But as as Moxley was leaving, he came back and he was about to get out the ring, then came back. And we all know that Tony Schiavone has an earpiece. And in his ear is one Tony Khan. And Tony Khan feeds him all this stuff. So a lot of people assume that what Moxley said when he said, this is no longer your company, he was not talking to Tony Schiavone, but talking to Tony Khan because he knows Tony Khan can hear what is going on. So when he said, this is no longer your company, a lot of people were kind of trying to figure out what the hell he was talking about, and all was pointing back to one particular person who just happened to be in a photo op with Tony Khan a couple months ago, and that is one Shane McMahon. To where now everybody is thinking Shane McMahon is coming to AEW to take over this company. Now, some people were referring to it as, I believe it was some movie that they were talking about. They said, you know, but that wouldn't be the right thing, because apparently this movie, Meltzer, this is one that reported this, the character was a white supremacist and said, this is no longer your country. And they were saying that, Meltzer saying that, because if you look at Moxley's face or his appearance now, he's bald, looks like a skinhead, all this type of stuff. No. We're not going to do that, because I would hope Tony Khan is not going to go that route, because then that is pushing it. No, what I think is I think Tony Khan is realizing that the Elite storyline that was supposed to be the Elite taking over and doing all this stuff kind of fell flat. If you get, because everybody thought when the Elite did this was kind of like the NWO. But if you remembered how the NWO was formed, you had outsiders, Hall and Nash. Could we see this happen? Moxley. Apparently now Maria Sheriff, I forgot how to say her last name, but you've seen her. She was there. Her and Moxley seemed to have formed this faction, or formed this partnership. There's rumbles of Bobby Lashley appearing on AEW. There's rumbles of MVP appearing in AEW. So are we going to get Bobby Lashley aligning himself with Jon Moxley, with MVP, and a Shane McMahon? Could this be some form of an NWO? Could this be something where we do see this faction go up against AEW and it is a hostile takeover? Not the biggest fan of it, because it won't last. And I think it will fall flat. If you do have Shane, though, and I will say, Shane is a trump card. But the one thing that's always missing is Tony Khan lets the inmates run the asylum. And you have EVPs that are active as active members on the roster. Change has to come, because you can't have active members of the roster in these executive positions of power, because then we have situations like the Young Bucks winning the AEW Tag Team Championships and not defending it or not doing much with it, and hijacking the tag team division, which apparently was the heart and soul of this company, and now it is the drizzle and shits. Yeah. I want to know what y'all think about what Moxley did. Do you think this is another attempt of a NWO-like story angle? Where do you see this going? That is the question. Let me know in the comments below. This has been Wrestle Talk with the Franchise. I will be back next week with another episode. Yeah. I'm out.